Hello again, we are back. This is the Memory Lapse. It's your friend Will. We're 1-0 in competitive constructed, RIP, mid-August. They're removing this mode with Bant Fog, with a few moderations that Gabe Nassif made after the Pro Tour. We played against Mono Black Control round 1. Beat them 2-0. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. A pretty good example of how resilient this deck is, our opponent had Duresses, Lay Bare the Heart, and Doomfall in Game 2, and they still lost fairly convincingly. Alright, so on the play we have Chart into Gifts. I think we can keep this. Chart into Gifts with a Haze. Good measure. Looks like we might be up against a control deck here. Oh no, we're up against the artifact deck. So, given the changes to the sideboard, this may be a really tough matchup now. This draw is probably very good against them. Because we have the ramp, and we know that they have very few ways. They likely have very few ways of interacting with the Nexus. So here we're probably going to play Farmland and Search. So we want to start churning through our deck, find Teferi as quickly as possible. Teferi in combination with these gifts is going to help us a lot. Sigh. So they're going to spew a few tokens onto the board. Probably Graveyard. I think we're trying to flip this very quickly and find Teferi very quickly. Alright, so let's gift up this forest. Chart some courses. They could counter this here if they have Metallic Rebuke. Looks like they choose to do so. Alright. Interesting. I guess they have like Baral's thing if they're trying to get to. Oh no, they're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. They don't have their everything gains Metalcraft or everything gains Improvise card, so they can't do anything too nuts for us yet. I think we probably want that. It helps us. Wow, they're gonna rebuke this. They'd be out of gas basically if they did. Discard a Root Snare. So now we're potentially flipping Search next turn. They didn't even attack us last turn, did they? Pretty much whatever this is, I think we want to push it to flip Search. I'm trying to think of what they could have here. that would interact with this. I'm guessing that they're just forgetting to click. So this is a deck, by the way, that once it's only quick constructed, I think we'll probably come back to. Because I think it's going to be really hard to hate on this deck without warping your deck too much. So I'm definitely going to be experimenting with this deck a lot more once they change the queues. Because I don't think I'm going to want to like grind ranked constructed to play 2 out of 3 like that and not earn currency. So this deck seems like probably one of the better game one of one decks in the format right now. I wonder why they... Maybe they just disconnected. I haven't had a disconnect or a crash in quite a while, to be honest. So, good on WotC for once. Looks like they disconnected. Oh, nope. So yeah, we can graveyard that, transform, get a fresh draw, Scattered Grove. Actually, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, with this Scattered Grove, it's actually fine. Okay. So I guess we just have to hope that they don't have a counter here. Appears they don't. Well, if we live this turn, I think we're in decent shape. And we're untapping 4 mana worth of lands with Teferi, which is where we want to be. We can even pay for Metallic Rebuke. Alright, so we Root Snare. This does deny us our Azcanta activation, but they have to have 3rd Metallic Rebuke here. Wow, that's kind of brutal. But they're empty-handed. So we'll activate Search on the end of their turn. Hopefully they just have like some artifact here, nothing crazy. What was it, Baral's Expertise? Is it Karn? We can win through a lot of stuff. I think the one thing we don't want them to find miraculously is they tapped 4. So it makes me think it's Karn. We can tank here for a second, like maybe we have something. But we're pretty happy to take 4. There's no point in digging for a fog to fog 4 damage when we're at 22. Looks like they're probably going to play Karn here. Oh, they're going to play Outcome. One, two, three, four. Don't think they can get to 50 here. I guess they could if they draw a lot of zeros. like a lot of zeros. Yeah. So that's 27. This puts a lot of pressure on us, though. 30. This cranks up pretty quick. It actually might have us here. 34, 39. It just really depends on what they hit off of these cantrips. Ooh, they actually got there. Wow, so they ripped exactly Paradoxical Outcome from their one draw. We could have just played a Nexus there. Alright, so they have to have a 0 here. Ooh, go to end of turn. Nice, we faded. Alright, so we know that we have to start using Nexuses here. Teferi's good. Hinterland is good. So I think we can play Teferi. So we have to set the stop in our end step here. We can play Teferi, untap. Yeah. Two, 4, 6, 7. Okay. Helpful. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can even go gift. Green, green. No, we can't do that now. So to set the stop here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, actually, we can just like Nexus here. Yeah, keep it simple. Thank you. I'll take the turn. Bounce their Aether Flux. End of turn. Untap. Oh shoot. Oh, I need to untap this. Darn. So we can cycle. We might want to save this for when we... Two, 4, 5, 6. I guess before we... Oh, that's not good. So if we Glimmer, we're still untapping enough. Bottom, bottom. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to plus. Alright, that should seal it. I like that they're making us do it, though. It's kind of fun. Alright. -8. Keep the new one. +1. Get rid of Psi. Play Nexus. And turn. Untap, untap, activate. Take a second Karn. Cycle. Wonder how long they'll let us do this for. $19 cards left in the deck. See if it'll let me do it. Well, I'm like only acting. What are you talking about? I haven't acted recently. Don't give me that bullshit game. I'm doing my best. I have to just clear all these 1/1s. This is so crazy. We're really close. We're almost done clearing their... I mean, we're done clearing their blockers. keep good Karn. -2. We don't have to do all this stuff anymore. This should finish pretty quickly now because we're swinging for 12 and 16. Cool, they were like pretty good sports about this. Maybe they'd never seen this before. And they just wanted to see like how I was gonna win. Alright. Cool. Thank you, Geppetto. Let's go on to game 2. So against this deck, interestingly, yeah, I guess we're taking out these. Definitely bringing in the negates. Not the Uncomfortable Chill. Definitely bringing in the defeats and the Baral. I think the question is for the remainder, we want to keep the Supreme Will. We can trim one search on the draw. I think we want to bring in Carnage Tyrant. And I think we want to bring in Manglehorn. Manglehorn is pretty good in this matchup. I wonder if it's correct to even trim a Nexus of Fate. Let's try this. I'm not sold on this Baral thing. Like, it doesn't just outright draw you a card. It's like draw and discard. But, the pros play it, so you gotta believe in them. A little concerned at the end of that match, end of that game, as I had a lot of permanents in play. There was a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of chug on the software. That always concerns me with memory leaks and like games going on too long and then getting a crash. Well, looks like they're taking their time figuring out what to sideboard here too. I'll be right back. Decant ourselves a quick pale ale here. Alright. I think we have to like this hand. Alright, they're going to play the crane game. Yep. So let's just slip this Baral into play. Alright, so not much we can do about this. Luckily they don't go like crazy off here. No point attacking with Baral. Gotta say, Hooded Figure with a Blade Hand doesn't read as a 1-3 to me. Reads a little more ferocious than a 1-3. Maybe we play Baral because it makes Nexus of Fate also like a little bit cheaper. Ooh, are they gonna play their Twig here? No, Crane. I keep calling that thing that gives everything Inspire a Twig. I know Twig is not the right word for it. It's like a resonating plate of some kind. We might just get a little beat down here. Don't really have an answer for the... I think we just have to let all of this resolve because we want to... One, hold this negate for something that matters. Like, we're still not preventing the triggers, so... And two, we need to use it to potentially, like, win a counter war over a Teferi or a Nexus of Fate coming up here. This doesn't actually do too much for us. Oh, it does kind of prevent them from going off later on. So now next turn our plan is to play Teferi. We're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ugh. Actually, next turn our plan is probably end of turn Nexus of Fate and hope it resolves. Paradoxical outcome. So with that, it doesn't change the clock, so let's just kill it. And if they have the Metalcraft here, then they have it. But then at least we get to Nexus in our turn. The Metallic Rebuke, they have it. Alright, so they pick everything up. They draw a ton. Yeah, we're in trouble here. This is the risk of taking out the Fogs in this matchup. If they just get the aggro side draw on you. The Baral was not good. Not even really anything we can draw to here. Yep. Alright, so they got us. Let's rethink this. I mean, it feels awkward to split the difference between. Yeah, maybe this is a matchup where you just want to bring in all the creatures. I don't think we want these Barals. I think we want the Jace's defeats to catch a Psy, and we want the negates to catch the spells that matter. I think we should bring back in the third search on the play. We can probably trim Karn here. But I think with all these legends, these extra Lyras, yeah, no, I think we still. No, maybe we bring this Sundering back in. This is tough. I'm also wondering about the approach being good in this matchup, but I kind of just like trying to ramp into a creature and beat them down. Although maybe that's just not right, because their deck doesn't really care about getting beaten down. We're trying to race them on the combo side. So if that's the case, maybe we just do keep the Brawls. Maybe this will be a lot better on the play. They just got to sneak that Psy down and get us. I think if we Jace to defeat that Psy, they don't get to do anything in that game. Alright, so at least we get to Supreme Will their turn 3 play here. That makes me want to keep this hand. Counter Psy, hopefully win. Okay. What could they play on turn 2 that we want to negate? Like, this might be the best window to play chart, so let's go for it. I think we're just discarding Baral here. Spyglass. Alright. So they'll get to name Teferi here. They'll get to see that we have Supreme Will and Negate. Play this one. We're not just going to blind gift and let them get this Psy down. Be suicide, as they say. Prophetic Prism. It's fine. So we just want to keep ripping lands here. The awkward thing is we can't negate and Supreme Will unless we draw another blue source. Inspiring Statuary will negate that. They may just be able to force it through here, which would be super unfortunate. They always have this Metallic Rebuke, huh? Alright, so now we can't really stop the Psy. We need to find lands. Okay, cool. So let's discard Irrigated Farmland, play our Hinterland Harbor. And I think we're just gifting this forest. Letting them resolve whatever, and then we're just going to try to jam Carnage Tyrant next turn and win with it. God, this card. This card got us game 1 3 times. They just had it. That's tough. And here's the Psy, but we couldn't have countered it with Supremo anyways because they can pay for it off artifacts now. We did slow them down though. Unfortunately, they were able to see our hand, so they didn't just blind jam it on turn 3. They don't have a lot of pressure here. Yep. Obviously, they can just rip at any point and like pick up their whole board and recast it. That would be really bad for us. Didn't even have to rip it, they just had it. Oh, they picked up Psy though. A little interesting. I guess I wonder why they picked him up, just to get the extra card draw. So they can play Psy out here. And they're just going to flood it with as many Thopters as they can. And they're forced to replay the Spyglass, or else we get to resolve it to Teferi. And get one activation, so it's not really that big of a deal for them. Wow, that's pretty tragic that we didn't hit land. I have to say. Hitting land would have been really nice. Just Nexus of Fate here. Oh, I did this wrong too. Well, just discard Teferi. We're in this game to attack. Yeah, this form of the sideboard, I mean, I might be siding this wrong. I didn't see Nassif play against this deck, really. I mean, maybe we are actually just set up okay, like game 1. But it does seem like you want to bring in Negate. Maybe you just bring in Negates and trim a few fogs and leave the deck as is and just try to win. Try to keep them from resolving the things that matter, like Statuary and the Reservoir, and have the fogs in case they just go super wide with Psy. This is going to help them beat my racing plan, which I don't like. Also, like, a little bit in trouble if they can ever counter a Time Walk. Graveyard, transform, draw. You know what I think we do here is if they go to pick up their board end of turn, we Nexus of Fate in response. Okay. I thought for sure that they were going to, like, play another outcome end of turn, and then I could have Nexused and potentially just straight up killed them. might be in a little bit of trouble now. They have enough Thopters to block it out. Oh my god. We're in a lot of trouble. They're not even attacking. What can we find? Negate's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Helps us resolve. We have to do this at some point. Holy shit. Get bulldozed. I do think we want the lands. They know we have the negate, so I'm sure they have other counters in their deck, though. I'm sure they sided in additional negates. They wouldn't go for this. They wouldn't go for this otherwise. Yeah, so negate into negate. Probably just dead here. I have to imagine we're just dead here because they get their full grip going into next turn. But let's let them kill us. They let us kill them. Like the long way, the first game. I'm convinced I sideboarded wrong. These games. Maybe this must have been I think this was a flawed plan because this does not help against the Thopters at all, right? Like they get to make enough Thopters to beat that. So that I think that whole line was really bad. Probably need to keep in some number of fogs. Bring in 6 counters. Leave the Barals on the sideboard. Bring in the fogs, or leave in like 3 or 4 fogs, and then just try to win the old-fashioned way. Obviously, they have a lot of ways to interact. Like the Spyglass really killed us. They're bringing in their counters, so without the Wrath that destroys all artifacts, this might be a really tough matchup for this deck. Pretty surprising that we won the first game, to be honest. Psy is so broken. I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about this getting played in Legacy or Vintage because of how powerful this ability is to just make these 1/1s. I could see it. I mean, this thing is nuts powerful. Like, really nuts powerful. Oh, did they really not hit any other zeros? There they are. What if I just stifled this? I'd still be dead, probably. They have 2 more zeros. They're gaining so much. And a 1. They think that maybe I have something here. Like, but I'm just letting them go off since they let us go off. Pay 50, deal 50. Sounds like a plan. Nice. That was tough. Sai is really hard to beat. So much board presence from nothing. In both games, they just had it like turn 3 or turn 4. Maybe we got baited. Yeah, we might have gotten a little bit baited there. No, I mean, we didn't get baited. We had to negate their statuary. They had the improvised counter, which then meant our backup counter, the conditional counter, wasn't good enough because of the extra mana they got. So, yeah, I don't think we were supposed to mulligan any more aggressively there. Like I think it's just a lot of our hands. The texture of our hands is not going to be good. Like if we had like double Jace's defeat, then I think we're like that's obviously a snap keep, but we can't mulligan to that. No, I'm gonna have to think about the sideboarding there. I'm pretty convinced that we made mistakes, but it was awesome to go off game 1. It was really gracious of our opponent to let us do it, so hopefully you all enjoyed that. And we will be back with round 3 soon. Thanks for watching.